Ahead of this year's HR Directors Summit Europe, I am delighted to welcome you to this podcast with Tom Brown, Vice President of HR International at eBay. Hello, Tom.
Hi.
So your keynote session at the HR Directors Summit Europe will look at the HR debates taking place in Silicon Valley. What excites you about what is happening in the West Coast at the moment?
I think there's a number of pieces. I think it's this sense of general diversity, democratization and inclusion that's happening, and a real feeling that the way that work is being done is fundamentally changing from a kind of Taylorist, very much a kind of command and control perspective, to very much more of an empowered environment where we're putting much more authority and opportunity in the hands of employees.
You spent several years in strategy planning and consulting. What was it about HR that enticed you into the profession?
I would be lying if I didn't say I joined the profession being dragged by wild horses. It was never my intention to be in HR. It kind of happened because of some work I was doing around OD that then led me into human resources. But it was not a plan.
Okay. Can I ask what has been the key to your success, Tom?
Thank you. It's slightly weird sitting here thinking success, but for me, I think the things I've prioritized as I've gone through have been, first of all, the real understanding of the business. And as I look at the function as a whole, the biggest gap I see is that a lot of people in HR don't seem to be interested enough in what's going on in the business. They don't seem to understand enough of the levers that fundamentally impact the results and success of the companies they work for. So I think probably that's the piece that's been most important to my career. Interesting.
I wonder if there are any challenges that you're facing at the moment, and if I could ask how you're approaching them.
So, there's a lot of challenges across a number of different spectrums. I'm in a situation right now within the organization where I have a pretty broad spectrum. So trying to kind of deal with a wide degree of different kind of time zones, geographies, cultures. From a company perspective, when we span off PayPal last year, it gave us the opportunity to kind of really reinvent the culture of eBay. And that's really an ongoing process. Obviously, it takes considerable time, but that's an area that we're really focusing on. And then we're just having to be very aware of kind of the macroeconomics of what's going on elsewhere. Alibaba, Amazon, the growth of specialist vertical players in our space, the increasing success of some of the bricks and mortar retailers. So it's like, what's our positioning as we go into through 2016 into 2017, 18? How do we make sure that eBay continues to be successful and be seen as a kind of first place to shop for customers?
And what does the future look like for eBay and its people?
I think the future looks incredibly positive. We have an interesting differentiation from other e-commerce players. The fact that as a platform, we don't own inventory. We have a very successful business-to-consumer as well as successful consumer-to-consumer business. But ultimately, there are e-commerce players out there who are effectively trying to put everybody else out of business, whereas eBay is really partnering with small and medium-sized businesses to really help them grow. And so that's actually something, as we've got into a broader dialogue, particularly in Europe, where there's a lot of concern about e-commerce, and the realization that we're really helping to facilitate this democratization of trade and give everybody equal opportunities in commerce has been a really important piece. And I think that's really where the future of the company and why eBay will continue to be very successful. And then I think for our employees, we continue to look at, how do we get kind of even more inventive? How do we get bolder in some of our strategies and take more risks? We have been successful around diversity. It's a really important focus for us. But there's a lot more to do. And so I think these are all areas where we'll continue to build and iterate and grow. I think that's going to be exciting for the next few years.
Absolutely. What are you most looking forward to as a speaker at the forthcoming HR Directors Summit Europe?
It's always that opportunity to hear what other people are doing and to have a broader dialogue around where HR is going. I think the function is coming to a kind of a crux point. You've got people like Ram Charan kind of predicting kind of the end of HR. I think that's fundamentally flawed in terms of that thinking, and I'm going to hopefully spend a little bit of time talking about that. But I think getting other people's perspective and seeing what else is happening, because a lot of the best HR practice now is not coming out of the big companies. It's coming out of small startups and people doing things that are very inventive, very creative, and some of it's working and some of it is not. But that's really the opportunity and excitement about an event like this. You really get a chance to share some of those ideas.
Tom will be joining us in Amsterdam on the 31st of May to the 1st of June for the HR Directors Summit Europe. Tom will be discussing the HR debates taking place in Silicon Valley and, rather provocatively, whether HR can adapt to the rapidly changing business environment and become a driver for it, or if it's time for HR professionals to move back and become an administrative behind-the-scenes function. To learn more about the high-level debates, discussions and global case studies you can access as a summit delegate, please do visit our website at eurohr.eu for more information. So Tom, thank you so much for your time today. We're really looking forward to seeing you in May in Amsterdam.
Thank you. I look forward to it.